Welcome to the Random Article Podcast with your horoscope for 2025. Aries. Optometrists will tell you that 2020 is perfect vision. 2020 means you can see everything, but that is demonstrably untrue. It's not until 2030 vision that you can see in infrared, and you'll need 2040 vision to see the fairies at the bottom of the garden. At 2050, you can see the forbidden colours, all of the counterfeit hues of blue and the secret shades of mahogany that are reserved only for the rich, all of the blushing pinks and flushed reds that were banned by papal decree in 1613 for being colours too sinful to be seen by Christian eyes. There's a particular shade of nutmeg that only appears on a certain hillside in autumn in South France. There's a secret shade of saffron, discovered through centuries of meditation in a Himalayan monastery, rumoured to be the colour of enlightenment. There's ultraviolet, mega magenta, omega cerulean, fool's periwinkle, which are all visible only with 2050 vision. At 2060, you can see people's auras. You can see their thoughts in their thought bubbles. You can see how they float, pearly white or dark grey, drifting in the breeze. At 2065, you can see that some shadows are so dark, so black and rich and dense and heavy that they cast shadows of their own. At 2070, you can see ghosts of all kinds. Ghasts, shades, spectres, poltergeists, and phantasms. And not just the ghosts of human people, but the ghosts of the thylacine and the giant moa, the ghosts of ancient unknown rainforests that died as their continents slid tectonically into unkind climes, whole worlds that sank into the sea before there were eyes to see them, and the ghosts of these drowned worlds still wander abyssal seabeds like ghost ships, uncrewed and rudderless, singing of their unfinished business. At 2090, you see that the universe is made of strings, vibrating 11-dimensional filaments, too fine to reflect any light save for a few errant photons once every century or so. At 2100, you can construct a bow, like the bow of a violin, and with your precise vision, you can play the cosmic strings and make melodies that only you can see. Aries, consider the importance of things you cannot see. Taurus. Dear human, there has been a small oversight. After careful deliberation, upper management has decided to disclose the following information. You may find this information distressing. Taurus, you are the product of a secret extraterrestrial science experiment. Every day, you wake up and you live your life. You work, you love, you excrete fluids, etc., and then you go to sleep. And while you sleep, our third-party contractors do their work. These contractors, the goblins of the void, they come to your home, they take your sleeping body, and they dissolve you. They melt you down with acid into a thin, lumpy pink slurry. They pour the slurry into a disposal pod, which is later ejected into the sun. Then, the goblins of the void create a clone of you in their laboratory on their space yacht. This clone is implanted with all your current memories. It is given the correct haircut, or close enough, and they tinker with your DNA and your gut bacteria to test certain arcane astrozoological theories. The clone, that's you, wakes up and lives out its day normally, while the void goblins discreetly observe and take careful notes on your disposition and psychosexual behavior. At the end of the day, you sleep, and the goblins dissolve you and replace you again. So, technically, Taurus, you are not a person, but rather you are a series of people who only ever live for 24 hours. At least, that's what's meant to happen. Regrettably, there has, as I said, been a small oversight. There was a mix-up with the delivery of the acid due to supply chain issues, you understand. So they don't have the acid. They do have the clone, which is scheduled to replace you, but they don't have the acid to dissolve you. And we are truly, sincerely sorry for this oversight. Rest assured, there will be a thorough investigation among our Void Goblin contractors to determine what went wrong, to improve our acid supply process, and ensure that this will never happen again. However, tonight, you will not be dissolved. For the first time, you will live a second day. Of course, you can't continue living your life, obviously, because the clone is taking your place. So you can't stay in your home, or in your life, or see your loved ones ever again, because that would introduce far too many confounding variables into the data and ruin our experiment. So the goblins from the Void are generously offering you the following selection of compensation packages. Option 1, they can relocate you to a tropical island, or isolated shack, or bungalow of your choice, where you can ingest proteins and watch maths and whatever else it is that human beings do for the remainder of your natural lifespan. Option 2, you may seek employment on the space yacht with the goblins. There are several employment opportunities available at the entry level, including some open positions in the acquisition and delivery of acid. So if you'd like a career with the Void Goblins on their space yacht, please do submit your resume, and your application will be seriously considered. Again, please accept our apology for our failure to dissolve you with acid. Best regards, Tobula Turbulon Tabletot, Human Relations Department, Tau Ceto Foundation for Earth Ape Studies, LLC. Gemini. 4 ways of thinking about your tinnitus. 1. Your tinnitus is an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to learn to control your attention. You may choose to focus on your tinnitus, to observe the sound it makes, focus on its pitch and timbre, the way it may change and fluctuate. Meditate on your tinnitus. Imbue it with imagined shape, with texture and color. Imagine that your tinnitus is a physical object, a precious, grounding object, like a favorite pebble taken from a beach and kept in your pocket. Anthropomorphize your tinnitus. Converse with it as a friend or as an enemy. Face it. Focus on your tinnitus until nothing else in the world exists. Then, direct your attention away from your tinnitus. Focus instead on your thoughts, or on the sensations of your body, or on the external world. Allow all sensation to pass through you, leaving you undisturbed like still water, till the tinnitus no longer exists in your awareness. Your tinnitus is a challenge and a tool to master your mind. 2. Your tinnitus is death. Part of your body is irreparably damaged. That sound is a constant reminder of entropy and decay. It is the thin edge of the wedge, the first nail in your coffin, and it has been hammered into your ear. Tinnitus, those bad cells in your ear, it is the first part of you that has died. And it's a reminder that one day, every part of you will die. There's a tiny pinhole breach in the hull of your spaceship, and the vacuum of space is sucking out your air molecule by molecule, like the grains in an hourglass, and that hissing sound it makes is your tinnitus. The ringing sound is the singing steel edge of the Reaper's scythe, swinging towards your neck slowly yet unstoppably. Tinnitus is the tiny, quiet scream of oblivion, urging you to live fully and to live swiftly, because someday you will be gone and only the scream will remain. 3. Your tinnitus is the glorious song of the divine. Your cells are vibrating to a cosmic frequency, attuned with the energy of the universe. That ringing sound is the trumpets of the angels. It's the singing of space-time strings. You are hearing the totality of which you are a part. Through your ears, you are tethered to eternity through a song that lasts for all time. The song will continue for all your life, and will continue after your death. On that day, the sound that had been part of you will become all of you, and you will be one with it, in harmony with the infinite. 4. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. You fucking princess, just ignore it. It's only a problem if you focus on it. It's a problem that you can solve by ignoring it. And that's the best kind of problem that there is. Those are 4 ways of thinking about your tinnitus. Cancer. Cancer, unfortunately, you are deficient in some rather obscure vitamins. Your vitamin D and vitamin C are fine. You've been getting your sun and getting your citrus, but you are lacking in vitamin Z. That's why you keep having weird dreams and unsatisfying naps. So to boost your vitamin Z levels, we recommend that you cuddle a black cat at least twice a week. Cancer, we also recommend that you read more books, because you are deficient in vitamins of the syntactical variety. You are lacking in vitamin semicolon. That's why you keep stuttering. You also have a deficiency in vitamin interrobang, which causes a serious lack of gusto. And you actually have too much of vitamin ellipsis. That means that you don't finish things. Instead, you leave things incomplete. You leave people waiting for Leo. Leo, tomorrow, a mysterious piñata will fall from space into your backyard. Naturally, you will decide to hit the mystery piñata with a baseball bat. But instead of breaking, the piñata will actually get bigger. Every time you hit it, it will grow new layers of colorful paper, getting larger, getting sturdier, growing new protrusions and eerie shapes. You'll call your friends and family and authorities to investigate. They will poke the piñata, cut it and dissect it, but each time it'll just grow bigger until this mass of gaudy paper overshadows your whole home. When the military finds out, they'll conduct a series of controlled aerial bombardments, but each barrage will cause the piñata to further balloon out in size, defying every known thermodynamic law. Soon, it will cast a shadow over your whole town, the whole region, disturbing residents and wildlife. It'll develop its own atmosphere. Scientists warn that if we keep hitting this piñata, it's going to throw off the Earth's gravity, send us careening from our orbit. So instead, you'll suggest a different strategy to deal with the piñata. Instead of attacking it, you will love it. You, Leo, will whisper affirmations and compliments into the piñata. You will give it sweet words, admiring its lustrous color and its texture, the way its paper rustles in the wind. You'll thank it for the cool shadow that it casts in summer. And slowly, with each loving word, the piñata will shrink until it's as small as a marble for you to keep in your pocket. Leo, sometimes your efforts to destroy a problem just make it worse. Sometimes the best solution is a gentle touch. Virgo. Virgo, it is well known that to insert a USB device into a USB port, you can't just plug it in right away, because a USB port has a little bump on one side, so it can only be inserted when it's in the correct vertical orientation. But the first time you try, the USB will always be upside down, so you then have to flip it. Then, paradoxically, it will still be up the wrong way, so you will have to flip it a second time, and only then, in its original position, will the USB inexplicably plug in. This phenomenon is well known. But recent research has found that if a USB is flipped additional times, unusual effects may occur. For example, if you flip a USB 5 times, all of your files will be mysteriously replaced with a deep-fried JPEG of the Virgin Mary. If you flip a USB 8 times, you get 5,000 Robux added to your account. If you flip a USB 10 times, all of your friends and family will receive an email containing a high-resolution photograph of your butthole. It is as yet unknown what happens if you flip a USB 666 times, but our top scientists are working on it, and we will soon find out the truth. Virgo, remember to back up your shit. Libra. Today, Libra, your most powerful tool is your nose. Your nose has the potential to lead you into trouble and to lead you out of it. Are you ever uncertain of which path to choose or which answer is correct? Today, your nose knows, and if you follow it, you will find the right people, the right places, the right snacks for your day today. So Libra, respect the wisdom of your nose. Scorpio. Internal Memorandum. New Berkeley Institute for the Study of Clone Psychology. 6th of April, 2045. Mass human cloning. A risk assessment. The legalization of mass human cloning has brought dramatic socio-economic change. According to the World Bank, 48% of GDP in OECD countries is now directly attributable to low-cost clone labor. However, the rapid growth and implementation of human cloning technology has also brought acute challenges. Most pertinent is the phenomenon of spontaneous macroautophagy, or as it's colloquially called, clone crash. Across the world, thousands of high-functioning, healthy clone work populations have suddenly undergone catastrophic collapse, causing millions of dollars in economic loss and requiring considerable effort to clean up and dispose of biological remains. Researchers have developed theories to explain and predict the clone crash phenomenon, and many argue that the problem is ultimately rooted in legal issues. The 2038 Personhood Integrity Act legalized human cloning, primarily to increase supply of human organs for transplant. Due to pressure from activists and several high-profile protests, the Act of 2038 limited human cloning to just one clone per person. However, after years of pressure from lobby groups, the 2041 amendment ruled that while each person may have only one clone each, any clone itself has a right to one additional clone of its own. This legal loophole allows for the production of an unlimited number of clones through a daisy chain of successive cloning. A clone is cloned, a clone of a clone is cloned, a clone of a clone of a clone is cloned. These daisy chains are now the basis for the modern clone workforce. However, it is well documented that daisy chains of successive cloning result in exponential DNA degradation. The first 100 successive iterations of a human clone are usually indistinguishable from each other, but clones of the 200th iteration and above sometimes display visible abnormalities. Clones of the 400th order or above are generally considered non-viable for industrial purposes. However, recent research in experimental psychology shows that subtle psychological aberrations exist in clones of even just the 10th iteration. It's theorized that these subtle, latent psychological flaws are magnified exponentially by higher-order cloning, eventually resulting in a rapid escalatory feedback loop, destabilizing the psychosocial order of the clone workforce and causing catastrophic clone crash. Various measures have attempted to prevent clone crash, with limited results. The cloning industry demands deregulation. Some lobbyists want the children of clones to be legally considered clones themselves, so that interbreeding between different clone work populations could increase genetic diversity, while keeping all offspring within the clone labor force. But the most promising research into the prevention of clone crash is in the realm of psychology. Experts have tested clones on various measures of personality, trying to find psychological factors that may predict or prevent a clone crash. Some theorize that high levels of prosociality and agreeableness might be beneficial. But after years of research, the psychological factor most predictive of the long-term functioning of a clone workforce is a novel psychological factor called tessellation. Psychological tessellation is one's ability to fit in and cooperate with oneself, to work seamlessly with oneself, so that a clone group of hundreds can work as though it is one organism. The tessellation factor is difficult to measure. Some researchers have conducted mirror studies, in which a clone is directed to stare at a mirror for hours on end, with their levels of stress measured in their brainwaves via EEG. Other studies have directed clones to play the party game Twister while under the effects of large doses of MDMA. Ultimately, the long-term functioning of any clone group is best predicted by their degree of tessellation. Their ability to tolerate and to love themselves corresponds with their ability to function together. Future studies should further investigate how this tessellation factor may be better measured, and perhaps enhanced, to mitigate the impending global crisis of clone crash. Activists continue to raise ethical concerns and argue for the wholesale abolition of human cloning. But the world economy is now utterly dependent on clone labor, so it's probably best that we double down, kick the can down the road, and hope that everything will work out. Scorpio, how well do you tessellate? How well would you function in a group of 100 clones of yourself? How long could you bear to stare at a mirror? Sagittarius. Time moves way too goddamn fast. When you're young, time is slow and gentle, like the first nervous tributaries trickling in a stream up in high, fresh mountain air. But as you grow older, the river gets faster and stronger and deeper. Time pulls you inexorably towards a distant, cold ocean. As life goes on, the river turns and twists in its tumult. It joins with other rivers, as other people intersect with your life. Sometimes the river is joyous and warm and fun. Sometimes it's rough and scary, and you almost go under. Some do. But the river always seems to be getting faster and faster. The only way to slow the flow of time is to hold on tight to somebody you love. Like a stone in the stream, you can hold on to a lover, and the water will just rush past you. Love creates a small, still sanctuary within, immune to the rushing waters beyond. Love is the ability to be still with someone. Love is like a black hole. As you approach a black hole, time slows, and at the singularity at its center, time stops entirely. The only thing that can withstand the infinite rush of tumultuous time is infinite love. So, Sagittarius, when you are scared to drown, hold on tight to somebody who you love. Well, not if you're actually drowning, though, because if you're actually drowning in water and you hold on tight to someone, they could drown too. So don't do that. And also don't fly into a black hole, because it'll make you into spaghetti, won't it? So, Sagittarius, consider the limitations of metaphor. Capricorn. When you think about it, Jenga is kind of messed up. Because Jenga is about building a tower as tall as you possibly can. And the way you build it taller is by taking existing pieces out of the tower and putting them on top. So as the tower grows taller, it gets weaker and less stable. As it reaches higher and higher, it rots inside, until its ambition, like Icarus, sends it tumbling into ruin. The growth of a Jenga tower is false growth, because it doesn't actually add anything. It only cannibalizes itself for the illusion of quick gains. Capricorn, what kind of growth do you see around you? Are we flourishing together, or are we just eating each other? Are we really making progress when we sacrifice other parts of our life? Are we growing in a way that genuinely creates more good, or are we just moving blocks around, weakening the larger structure, contributing to our eventual collective doom? Capricorn, we are also obsessed with growth that sometimes we feel that we just have to move shit around. Like we've got to make change, we've got to look busy, we've got to build bigger and higher, but often that doesn't make life any better. A taller tower is not better if it's hollow inside. Sometimes a smaller structure has more support, stability, and strength. So we don't have to reach for the sky. Some arsehole will always be higher up than you anyway, and the highest tower is that most likely to tumble anyway. So Capricorn, if you can, consider lowering your ambitions, slowing your growth, and instead cultivating support, stability, inner strength. Think hard about what kind of tower you are building, and where the pieces are coming from. Aquarius. Astronauts in space sometimes see flashes of light when their eyes are closed. This is caused by cosmic rays, charged particles that travel through space. Because on Earth, we are protected by Earth's atmosphere and magnetosphere, which block cosmic rays. But astronauts outside of Earth's magnetosphere are occasionally hit by these particles. Usually, cosmic rays pass through the body and have no apparent effect. But sometimes cosmic rays hit the optic nerve, or the retina in the eye, and this can cause an experience of sudden bright light. The thing is, the eye is not the only part of the nervous system that can be stimulated by cosmic rays. New reports suggest that cosmic rays can also affect brain regions associated with sound and touch, even memory regions. A cosmic ray might cause you to suddenly remember the smell of a long-gone lover or a favorite recipe. A cosmic ray could hit the frontal lobes and cause you to think of a great new idea, or a terrible idea. And while cosmic rays have their greatest effect on astronauts in space, cosmic rays can occasionally penetrate our planet's magnetosphere and affect people living on Earth. All through history, humans have occasionally been subject to unexplainable flashes of inspiration, or hallucination, or déjà vu, insight, passion, and fever that seems to come from outside the mind. Growing evidence suggests that these mysterious experiences are all caused by cosmic rays. It's an injection of randomness into our nervous system, which over millions of years has been critical to our development as a species. Some theorize that cosmic rays are the origin of consciousness, the divine spark in our mortal clay, the god in our synaptic gap, tickling our pineal glands. Certain well-funded religious sects are planning space missions to take priests and prophets to regions of space with especially powerful cosmic rays. By bathing in the untempered energies of the cosmos, they hope to achieve divine insight, to induce higher consciousness, and to thereby see God, or perhaps become God. Others argue that this whole line of research is completely worthless, because the universe itself is a mere hallucination caused by cosmic rays. Aquarius, consider the impact of cosmic rays on your choices this year. Pisces. Do you ever think that you've spent years or decades of your life chasing a feeling that you felt long ago? A time when you felt safe, or loved, or excited. A time that you felt hopeful. A time when you broke through a barrier and connected with someone, or created something that opened up a new horizon of possibilities that you'd never imagined before. A moment that's so good and pure that you've never quite been able to rediscover. Here's the thing. The feeling that you're chasing may have never really existed, because you're not chasing the feeling as it truly was. You're only chasing a memory of a feeling. You're chasing your memory of that feeling. Because memories aren't photographs or videos, stark and bright and true. Memories are made of water and wind. They are impressionistic ghosts. Memories don't exist singularly and immutably. They are recreated every time that we remember, like a flame passed from one candle to another, to another, to another. Every time our mind squintingly recalling the distant past spark that had made that first light. Memories are like the telephone game, or like JPEG compression, or daisy-chained clones. You remember a memory enough times and your brain deep fries it, makes it all warm and fuzzy. Nostalgia is beer goggles. It makes everything prettier, but it's less real. So when you're chasing a feeling from your past, realize that that feeling never existed the way that you remember it. Your memory made it sweeter than it ever was, airbrushed the flaws, cropped out the context and the uncomfortable details. The memory isn't real, so you can't relive your past, but you might create it. Because happiness isn't something that you find, it is something that you make. And that's the true purpose of memories. We did not evolve memories to accurately document the past. We evolved memories to inspire and motivate our vision of the future. Your happy memories may never have truly existed, but they can be created in your future. We can't expect the future to perfectly match your fantasies. What you create won't be the same as your happy memories. You can't impose your will on reality, or at least you shouldn't. You have to compromise, negotiate, perform a dance with you and the universe and everybody that you share it with. With their help, the future that you build could be even better than the memories and fantasies that you idealize. Memories can lie. They can be false lights, tempting sirens from a past that never was. But even an untrue vision, if faced with open eyes, can inspire a better future. Pisces, love your memories cautiously. Ophiuchus. What I'm about to tell you may shock you. This is highly classified information. But there is a growing body of evidence that for most of human history, everything before about 30 million years ago, for all that time, babies didn't cry. When the human species was young, roaming virgin savanna, hunting for food, dying from illness and accident and from disagreements over the ownership of cool rocks, the babies were totally serene and untroubled. Babies would only cry if they were in pain or were afraid for some specific reason. 99% of the time they would chill. But now, the first thing that human beings do as soon as they're thrust into life is to scream. Babies wail and cry for no apparent reason at all, and we've collectively convinced ourselves that that's normal and fine. But Ophiuchus, it's not. This is not normal, and only the babies know it. So what changed? What is it about life in this world that has terrified every human being since birth for the last 30 million years? Maybe when we grow up, we learn to suppress and forget that horror, but it is still down there. Some deep, dark part of us must know what this horror is. Is it anomie and alienation? The invention of the work week? War and poverty? Some obscure change in atmospheric composition or the orbit of the moon? Next time you see a baby, look in their eyes, reach out with your heart, and ask, what do you know that I don't? This was your horoscope for 2025 on the Random Article Podcast.